In this video, we're going to continue on in talking about files, using files with Python. In particular, we're going to talk about using loops to get through the files more quickly. It's often the case you'll have a file of unknown length. Okay, so you don't know how many reads to do, basically. Okay, so the key to this is that when you're processing a file, if you pull something in from the file, and you've reached the end of the file, it's just going to return nothing. Single quote, no space. Okay. So you can test for that. So to talk about this, first I'm going to show you this program here that I've created. And I will put this one up on the site so you can download it if you want. And all it does is it creates a file of random integers. Okay. So I'm importing random at the top here. And then in my main, I'm just asking the user to enter a file name. And then I'm creating, oh, sorry, the next thing I'm asking them, how many numbers do you want in the file? Okay. I'm then opening that file, opening it for write. Okay. And then I'm using C for a counter in the range that they said. If they say 100, it's going to go from 0 to 99, which is correct. And then I'm just setting R to be a random.rand int. So it's a random integer. I'm saying between -1,000 and 1,000. You can do whatever you want. And then I'm just going to out file.write. Remember, that's a number, so I have to convert it to a string and add a new line character. Okay. So when I run this, it's running the wrong one because it's got to be weird when it's PyCharm, which is what I'm in. Okay, so let me run create random number. Okay, so I'm going to call this test.txt. Let's say I want 100 numbers. Boom, it's done. Okay, and if I were to open, okay, it's in the wrong directory. So let me instead go to the project. It should be right there. Yeah, test.txt. Trying to keep my screen small so your video looks better. You can see that I've got random numbers. Looks like between 1 and -1,000 and positive 1,000. Okay. And if you look at the count, there are in fact 100 of them. Okay. So you can use that whenever you're creating your files if you don't want to do it by hand to get bigger numbers. Okay. So for the lab that's coming up today, it would be good to have 100,000, whatever, how many numbers you want. Okay. Um, so that's an important thing for us to know how to do. Okay. As far as reading in numbers, so here's an example. We have this sales.txt file, which is going to be 5 numbers that are floats. Okay. And then we've got this read sales file. Okay. No, sorry, read numbers file. Let me do that one first. Here's our read numbers file. So we're again asking for the file name here. We're then opening that file name for reading. Okay. Here's what the loop looks like when you don't know how long the file is going to be. Okay. We'll go to the other program in a second. So you start by reading in the first line. So n is equal to n file.readline. Okay. I don't care if it's a string, number, whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. Here's the important part. While n is not equal to, again, just 2 single quotes together. Okay. While it's not nothing, then I'm going to convert it to an integer. I'm going to print it out, and I'm going to get the next one. Okay. If you don't get the next one inside the loop, you're going to be in an infinite loop. So these are the same things inside and outside. Okay. So I can use this to run the file that we just did. I know the problem. My controls for Zoom are in the way here. So if I do that, yeah, so let's do our test.txt that we just created. I'm still running the wrong program. Okay, we're going to do that again. Okay. I guess I have to actually run it this way. Okay, so our file name here is test.txt. And there you see that it printed out all of those numbers that we created. Okay. So that's kind of the key behind this looping thing. Okay. The other thing that you can do, and that's what this other, now we're back to this file. This is the sales data here. Okay. And we can use this for loop in this way. So again, unlike C++ and other languages, the for loop is not just a counter. In fact, it's not a counter, it's an iterator. Okay, so it's going to iterate through some structure. So once we've opened our sales file here for reading, okay, I can just say for line in sales file, nothing else. Okay, And every time it loops through, it's going to grab the next line of the program automatically. Okay, this does the same thing as a read line. So then I can set the amount equal to the float of that line. Okay, and then I can spell that correctly in my comment. I then display it out. Okay, then closing the file. It's important that you close the file. It can cause some issues if you don't. Okay, so we run this one. And you see that that just goes through, reads and prints out that file. Okay, so that's the basic idea. So in lab, we're going to talk about looping as well, but that's the basic idea in dealing with files when you don't know how many they're going to be. Okay, of course, if you're writing a file, you can do a normal while loop, and while some, like if you're entering numbers, we'll often do like a -999 to show that you're done. So while your number is not equal to -999, ask the user for a number, write it to a file. Keep doing that until they hit -999, and then you don't write it and you exit out. Okay. So there'll be another video on this section where we talk about using records, but I wanted to keep them shorter, a little easier to read. So that's all for this video. Okay. So as always, if you have questions, make sure that you let me know.